I'm Douglas Christensen, Channel X News. Madawaska's Board of Select People apparently like the work of their town manager. They have extended Ryan Pelletier's contract for 3 more years and tossed in a pay increase. The pay hike of 2% will bring the town manager's salary up to just over $84,000 as of July 1st. According to Fiddlehead Focus, he will receive increases of 2% in July 2018 and again in July 2019 as well. Pelletier was first hired by Madawaska in September 2015. Caribou native Jessica Meir is preparing for a possible space mission. Meir is one of 8 men and women who were selected over 6,000 applicants in 2013 for NASA's 21st class of astronauts. Meir said, "We never really know when it's going to happen, but it will happen. Hopefully it will come within the next 1 or 3 years." According to BDN writer Catherine Olmsted, Meir is preparing at the NASA Johnson Space Center down in Houston for a trip that she has dreamed of since childhood. Meir was a 1995 graduate of Caribou High School. She was the valedictorian. Some 20 local business and community leaders made the trek down to Augusta for a rustic day at the legislature this week. Channel X Radio caught up with State Representative Trey Stewart in Augusta. Presque Isle Representative shared his thoughts about the contingent from the county being there.
I think Aroostook County always has a presence that's pretty notable down in Augusta. I think that still remains true today, just as it did when my grandfather served. The county folk are some that, are taken pretty seriously down here. And even though our numbers have kind of dwindled over the years, we still have that same presence. And people know that when somebody from the county speaks up, odds are they should probably pay attention.
Welfare and workforce developments are big issues in the county. Stewart has legislation in the works that is looking to benefit both employers and individuals looking to get into the workforce.
I think it's all about a system of carrots rather than a system of sticks. I think people respond generally better to that, and I think if we can make sure that people aren't getting kicked off of their welfare needs and those services that they depend upon to feed their families and keep a roof over their head and make sure that their kids have what they need to survive and get by. So we're not just stripping them right away when they get a job or when they get a promotion. We're making sure that it will allow them to move upward in the workforce. It'll allow the workforce to grow. It'll encourage work through monetary incentivization, and it'll get us back on track to where we need to be to have a strong economy in Aroostook County.
State Representative Trey Stewart of Presque Isle speaking to Channel X Radio at Aroostook Day at the legislature earlier this week. New Brunswick Premier Brian Gallant delivered his State of the Province address in Fredericton last night. He promised that as long as he is Premier, no rural hospitals in New Brunswick would be closed. He also committed $7 million to improving literacy rates. Gallant said he would invest $230 million more in mental health, home, and general health care. He told his audience that the provincial government is on track to reduce the deficit and to balance the budget. Maine's High Court has ruled that a Newport woman who gave birth after a federally supported health care clinic in Albion failed to install a temporary birth control device cannot recover damages. Kayla Doherty says she received a procedure at the health center in February 2012, but later learned the device, which is inserted into the patient's arm, was never installed. She gave birth in June 2014 and then sued Merck and the U.S. government, seeking $250,000 in damages under the state's wrongful birth statute. Maine Supreme Court ruled yesterday that Doherty's claim does not satisfy the standard of the statute. The court said temporary birth control implants, including the one she thought was installed, are not legally recognized as sterilization procedures. New Brunswick is being told it will be days before life returns to normal in parts of the province after that messy ice storm left tens of thousands of people in the dark. Petty Kodiak Mayor Gary Gogan says he's lived in the province his entire life and has never seen so many people without power. About 80,000 New Brunswick customers are still without power as of late yesterday. At one time, as many as 135 New Brunswickers, that's 1 in every 6, were without electricity. Many of the outages are in the eastern edge of the province in a band that ran from north to south. The Woodstock area, though, also reported widespread outages. State legislature has unanimously approved legislation delaying the retail sale of marijuana until at least February 2018. The legislation also makes clear that individuals under 21 years old cannot possess or use marijuana. Growing and possessing recreational marijuana, however, is still legal starting Monday. The bill is headed for the desk of GOP Governor Paul LePage, who called on lawmakers for money for the rulemaking process. The law approved by voters gave state regulators 9 months to adopt rules for marijuana legislation. LePage also wants the Liquor and Lottery Agency to head the process instead of the Agriculture Department, which he worries could lose federal funding under the new administration for licensing marijuana. The House rejected an amendment to appropriate $1.6 million to the Liquor Bureau for rulemaking. Finally, in the news this hour, the Canadian dollar is worth 76.31 cents U.S. this morning, 0.05 lower than yesterday afternoon. The loonie is now 1.86 cents higher than it was at the beginning of the year. The U.S. dollar is worth $1.31.05 Canadian. You've just been uploaded on the X.